Okay, here's our final critiques on the persuasion speech, part 3. This one is for Bull Weevil. Bull Weevil, you had potentially one of the better topics in all of the speeches. Now, where you get into trouble is how you deliver and how you cover the topic. Half of your PowerPoint was on the monitor. The other half was on the screen. Now, the visuals aren't going to work all that well in this kind of a situation with the camera, but one of the things you could do is concentrate on one or the other. Don't stand in the middle, and don't, if I can't see it, I can't deal with it. Now, what you might have done is stand in front of the projection screen. That may not have worked. Then stand in front of the monitor, move the monitor as close to you as possible, and if you would have provided me with a copy of the PowerPoints, at least I could have referenced them, and we would have known that if you were in a classroom situation or an auditorium, you would have had a projection system where it could have been seen. But since I was your audience, you needed to think in terms of that. You weren't fluent most of the time in your speech. You had point here and a point there and then a point and then a point, and the problem with that is maybe the points are strong, but somehow you have to tie all of this together, and when you're going all over the map, it's very hard to figure out what direction or even what route we're following. In doing that, when you're going all over, it's very hard to see a story. There are a lot of possibilities in your topic to do stories. It was, in my opinion, just a collection of points. It rambles and doesn't hold together. There were too many vocalized pauses, ahs and ums. The camera is too far away, therefore I can hardly hear you, and I think you did that possibly because of your visuals. But always remember, the camera microphone are tied together, so the farther the camera is from you, the more audio problems you're going to have. Again, as we've mentioned several times, you did not establish your credibility for this story. And it could be something as simple as, I've had relatives in my family, I'm a volunteer there, or I think this is a critical issue for women. There's all kinds of possibilities that don't involve any kind of true confession or saying anything about your own status. It's just a matter of saying that you're not just someone who needed a topic for a speech, and that sounded like a good topic, so that's what you're going to talk about. The credit for the PowerPoints, where'd you get those? You never mention anything in terms of sources, so you want to be really, really careful when you get into something like that. All right, next is, and finally, is Gopher. Gopher in all of the presentations and the use of visuals. Your visual was perhaps the best of any. For one, when you were standing in front of it talking before you got to it, I was vaguely aware there was something behind you, but it wasn't distracting. When you moved away and you showed the bar graph going up, and then you made a point of showing the actual donations remaining steady, need going up, donations steady, that was just dynamite. And then when you moved back into position, you've given me what the chart is for, and constantly over your shoulder I see that chart, and it's like, wow, it won't go away. And I don't know whether you intended for that effect, but it had a great effect of constantly reminding me of what you had said. You want to repeat statistics when it will have a dramatic impact. If you want to say that only 10% of the American population does X, that's a good point where you can bring it up again. And you can do it like this: 10% of the American population does. Now let me emphasize that, because it's important that you understand only 10%. 1 in 10 of the population is, and then whatever you want to say. It really makes it more dramatic. Your speech, frankly, and in front of everybody, was just about as good as it could get. You could smooth out a few rough spots, but you know what? I said at the very beginning of this class, my role is not to make you into keynote speakers. My role is to make you feel comfortable when you are giving a speech and a kind of level of confidence. And you pulled it off, and it was amazing. You made a point that was dynamite in one statement, and I don't know if you realize it or not, and that was that you don't have to be dead to donate. You know, that's just a dynamic point when you're talking about organ donation, and I'll leave it to the other people to figure out what you said there, but you know what we're talking about. And then you did say watch can make a difference. Okay. Careful of the okays in there. You covered all of the bases. I've had a couple of speeches where I'm at the point of saying, okay, now say this, and you did. Okay, now show me that, and you did. It was anticipating what the audience at that point would be vitally interested in knowing about, and you covered it. That is absolutely key. Okay, what you need to know is these were really tough speeches to grade. I looked at each of the speeches 2-3 times, looked at parts of it more than that. The overall point is that forget what I've said in terms of a critique. Each of you has gotten better as this class has progressed. I don't try to make you into the world's greatest speaker. If you will take some of the points we've talked about, staying on topic, being direct, not being too complicated, all of the kinds of things I've been talking to everybody about in this commentary, you're going to do quite well. You've got some ideas, you just need to go with it and make it happen. We'll talk more when I talk to you next about your special occasion speeches. So your grades will be posted soon.